We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars Wrestling Show, episode 326. I am a man behind a microphone. I need to come up with a better tagline for myself. I'm Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week is the Scholars of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, the one and only, the ever sweaty Scholar Charlie. Scholar Charlie, how much are you sweating buckets today, sir?
Oh, yes. This is quite possibly the last time that you'll see this on-screen romance between me and my belt here.
You and Goldie?
Yeah. I'm a little more sad.
Enjoy your last couple nights with her.
I'm pretty sure I'll be kissing her goodbye by Sunday, but it's okay.
Also joining us, significantly less nervous, whether positively or negatively remains to be seen, the one and only Mr. the Rewind, the Scholars of Wrestling Party Champion, the one and only Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, what's going on in your life?
I'm just, you see me not sweating bullets. It's not saying I'm confident I'm going to walk away with this lovely red belt on my shoulder. It's just if I win it, I win it. If I don't, I don't. There's nothing more left for me to do. I've already accomplished it all as the undisputed scholar. It's now more just seeing you guys rise to the top. It's just me watching all of you rise to greatness. As I'm already there, so it feels great to be greatness.
And last but certainly not least, speaking of greatness, the one and only Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how's your evening going, sir?
I am ready for this coming Sunday to etch my face next to Scholar Tarek's on the Mount Rushmore of scholars, because all I need to do is win one Royal Rumble game.
Yeah, you can't just be the winning scholar. You actually have to win the Rumble game.
Yes. I have to win the Royal Rumble game, and then I'm on that, and then my face is etched in that mountain for all time. So, yeah, this is a big one. And I'm ready for it. I'm confident. Not cocky, just confident.
Well, we're certainly going to get into all of that. We're going to get into all of that in due time. But this wouldn't be a proper episode of the Scholars of Wrestling Show without kicking things off with a little segment we like to call Backstage News.
Indeed. We shall go ahead and peek behind that curtain and just think, why the hell are we peeking around the curtain? Let's just go right through that curtain, enter the ring, and start throwing 29 other superstars over the top rope in the Royal Rumble weekend, and check in on a little
Backstage
News. Royal Rumble man. But yes, backstage news. Absolutely. But before we get to the best pay-per-view of the year, there's been some really exciting news in the world of wrestling outside of the Royal Rumble, including this latest announcement just from this week. You probably have heard of that already. You've probably been speculating, but in case you've been living under a rock for the past week, the WWE Network has been picked up by the Peacock app, which I believe is owned by NBC, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so I have to admit, I know there's a lot of words that have been exchanged about this whole deal, a lot of speculation. I personally was really nervous about this, like, oh no, what's going to happen to my subscription? What's going to happen to the shows? But the more I think about it, the more encouraged I was. Like, there's going to be way more exposure, way more potential for fans. Free access to the rest of the NBC shows, presumably. I don't have the Peacock app, so that's a new big deal for me. So the more, it's one of those things where the more I think about it, the more intrigued I actually am by the deal. Going to the rest of you, what was walk me through your discovery process. What was your immediate reactions, and what do you think of the deal now?
Well, the immediate reaction was, of course, it's 7:30 on a Monday morning. So my brain's not entirely woken up yet. And I was like, does this mean the WWE network has failed?
I
its
highly
own?
doubt it.
But
Not
that-
after $1 billion deal like that.
but after a half hour and getting my mind right, getting my morning energy drink and getting my brain all straightened on, the questions started creeping in, because I'm pretty sure the Peacock app is you got to pay to run that. So do you have to pay like $9.99 a month for the Peacock app? And then from what I understand, $4.99 for the WWE network with ads, $9.99
No, sir.
without. Do you have to pay that and then the $4.99 on top of that?
No, from
No.
what I've understood about this whole deal is that it just goes down to the price of the Peacock network itself as $4.99, and if you want to get it ad free, it's $9.99. There's no additional like WWE network price or anything like that. It's just it's either $4.99 for the basic deal or $9.99 for like the ultra deal that's commercial, that's ad free.
Because that was the whole thing. It's like you got half the internet is like, this is a great thing, and then you got half of the internet that's like, oh, you got to pay for the not understanding what exactly is going on and being pissed off about it. And I'm like, hey, all I want to know is whether I'm gonna have to pay for the Peacock app and then the WWE network on top of it. Because if I do, then that's bullshit. But if I don't,
I don't think it's gonna happen like that.
But if I don't, then that's a great fucking deal. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, from everything I've seen, again, you're not the only one who's had that nervousness, but from what it looks like, they're just moving all the WWE network programming to the Peacock app.
Yes.
So basically you're $99.99 instead of just going to WWE network programming is also going to get all this NBC stuff ad free on top of it. So it's like, hey, my dollar's just going further. Okay, good for us.
You can watch all the Office episodes you want.
Well, you know what?
You Saved by the Bell in wrestling for $4.99. I'm all about that life.
I'm about to actually confess something very bad right now. I have not actually seen The Office before. So if this means I get to actually watch and play catch up on The Office and act like a real civilized human being, then yeah. This is bad for me, WWE. You're feeding me. This is more.
Wow.
You guys are just so shocked about this, but I'm actually in the same boat with him. I've only seen
Heathen.
Oh my gosh.
I've only seen like 1 or 2 episodes. So I
haven't
sat down and
binging game with it like 2 years ago, but wow.
I guess we all have some homework to do with all this. So thank you, WWE, and thank you, Peacock.
There's only one concern that was actually brought up, and I was like, you know what? That's actually a pretty good argument. One man, I don't remember his name, he posted a video comparing networks, how it's, if you look up like I think he actually did look up Shawn Michaels, and he was able to find many things like pay-per-views, documentaries, specific matches on the WWE network, fine. But when he looks stuff up on the Peacock network, I forgot who exactly he looked up.
You know what? I saw this. Like,
so you know what I'm talking about. So
yeah, it was an actress from Parks and Recreation, and it wasn't using the same cataloging system.
Yeah.
I do actually have an answer for that. there was someone on Reddit who posted like a response to how it works. Who he works in that industry where other streaming services will take on like other tape libraries. According to this person, who again, I wish I have the citation. I'm sorry I don't. But according to them, the changes are only organizing on the front end, meaning that if you go on the app, everything it'll just be like a separate section for WWE Network. And then but all of their stuff is still going to be on the back end, meaning it's going to be on the WWE servers. So if I'm understanding it right, the way it'll probably work is you'll go on the Peacock app. It'll look like the regular Peacock app that they're usually doing, however that looks. And then when you select the WWE Network, it'll actually go to what we traditionally know and have organized as the WWE app.
So like if you put in like my buddies have a Fire Stick. Okay, and it's basically you pick whatever, and it's like an app on the app. So you're on the Peacock app, and then you select WWE, and then it brings you to the WWE Network app. It's just hosted on Peacock.
Cool. Then if that's going to be the case, then I have no problem at all with this. I am all for it.
Let the binge watching of The Office begin. But on the bright side and on a smaller note, I heard about this today. We could not proceed without addressing this or bringing it up for the entire world to hear. But I'm afraid I've got some good news. Stu Bennett, yes, better known to WWE audiences as one Wade Barrett, has officially become a U.S. citizen after over a decade in the country. So bravo to Stu Bennett. Welcome
what
to
a time to do it.
You're a Yank now.
Congratulations. But I was reading a tweet and just being like, of all the time, congratulations on becoming a U.S. citizen. But of all the times to do it, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. No, that's it.
Pretty much.
But you know what? Hey, happy for the guy. He's obviously 12 years in the country. You're able to actually call yourself a citizen now. That's great news.
Yeah, not for nothing. I know there's a lot of crazy crap going on in this country, but at the same time, people still want to come here. There's still something, as pessimistic as these days are, that's the kind of thing that tells me, you know what? There's still something here. There's still more than a shred of hope. There's still a place for it. And again, especially when someone that we really appreciate, like Wade Barrett of all people, hey, we welcome you with open arms. Welcome to the States.
Absolutely.
And I still expect to see him in the ring on Sunday.
That would be fantastic.
Hell, I want to see Samoa Joe in the ring.
You know what? On that note, let's just dive right in. Let's just get into what the reason why we're all here. Yeah, Royal Rumble weekend. It's time for the predictions. So let's just dive right in. First off, we're going to run down some matches that have not been officially announced. There's a probability that they're probably going to be announced. So we're going to put some predictions in for those first and foremost, just so we're prepared just in case they happen. First match we've got is Big E versus Apollo Crews, maybe for the Intercontinental Championship. So Champion's Advantage, we're going to kick things off with Charlie. Charlie, who do you got? Big E versus Apollo Crews, if it happens.
Big E for Big E reasons. Big E.
Big E for Big E reasons. Taking it up next on the line, Tarek. Tarek, who do you got? Big E or Apollo Crews?
Big E.
It's that simple.
I
like
Apollo Crews, but I just if they were going to give him the Intercontinental Championship, they would have given it to him like the night where he, slapped Biggie in the face. I just don't see him winning it right now. He could win it this year, but I just don't see it happening.
Brian, who do you got
If it
between
actually
Big E and Apollo Crews?
Yeah, I like Apollo Crews. I like what they're trying to set up right now with his Twitter promos and what he's saying on what he and Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns are doing in the back and on Talking Smack. I like what they're doing with him, but yeah, you're trying to build Big E for a run in the next year, so you're not going to take the title off of him right now, unless you're planning on fast tracking him, and I don't think they're doing that yet. So if this match does happen, it's almost a guarantee that Big E retains.
And I am going to make a quadrilogy out of that. Big E for Big E reasons, because he is large.
Damn
Big
straight.
chocolatey clotheslines for everyone.
Yes, big chocolatey clotheslines for everyone, indeed. But speaking of big chocolatey clotheslines, that brings us to our second speculated match of the evening. We've got, for the U.S. Championship, Bobby Lashley of the Hurt Business versus Riddle.
As well.
Tarek, it's your pick first. You're next in line. Who do you got, Bobby Lashley or Riddle?
It's kind of a tough call, just considering how this whole thing has been booked just to make Riddle look bad. So I can see them having him win the championship. Like I said, if they actually, unless they save this match for the Raw after. But yeah, if anything, I just see them really putting it on a Raw than having it on the actual pay-per-view. But if I were to choose a winner, all my other matches are kind of one-sided, so I'll just throw Riddle in just to be different.
You're going with Riddle?
I'll go with Riddle just because, one, I actually don't think this match is actually going to happen on the card, so I'll just throw the most outlandish answer.
Okay.
I'm gonna laugh if this is the one that does happen.
Well, put your money where your mouth is, Scholar Brian. It's your pick. Who do you got, Riddle or Bobby Lashley?
Completely honestly, with all the shit that's going on with the Hurt Business right now, I don't know why they're doing it, but they are doing it. Like
Pathetic.
this is the one title match out of the three that we're probably going to discuss for the potential match is not announced yet, where I can actually see a title change happening because of something that Cedric Alexander does. So
what's your prediction?
I don't think what Tarek said is an outlandish pick. He's picking it because he doesn't think the match is actually going to happen. I think I'm picking it because I think if the match happens, this is actually going to happen. I'm picking Riddle to win because of Cedric Alexander fucking up again.
Well, you know what? I'm actually going to pick Riddle too, just because I think the waves of the ocean are sort of pointing in that direction, and I think Bobby Lashley is ready to step up to the next level with the Hurt Business and all that. So I think he's a very good candidate for not only even if he doesn't win the Royal Rumble, Bobby Lashley, he's primed for something new. He's due for an upgrade. And meanwhile, I think Riddle can absolutely benefit from being a US champion right about now. So yeah, I'm going to go with Riddle as well. Then again, Charlie, do we have a quad trilogy, or are you going with Bobby Lashley?
No, I'm going with Riddle, and I hate Riddle, and I'm going with him in this potential match. Actually, you know what? He's growing on me.
Because he acts like a stoner every time he's on screen.
He doesn't have to act like a stoner. He is a fucking stoner.
No. Oh yes, he is a stoner, but he has to act like he's high all the time on the show because there is no chance in hell, no pun intended, that Vince will actually allow him to be completely high on his show.
Then again, he's also getting the paycheck. So if Vince McMahon gave me a paycheck that fat to act high all the time, hey, I'd do it.
Plus that paycheck buys him more weed.
It's also
Exactly. You're
Matt,
thinking
Matt
the long
Riddle
game.
doesn't have to act very hard in order to act high.
Yeah, not
okay?
much of a stretch for Matt Riddle
Yeah. So
at all.
Hey man,
All right.
and the whole thing with Bobby, with you, what you were saying, Jeff, about Bobby Lashley being ready for the next level. Yeah, I agree on that. Just a couple of weeks ago, I said Bobby Lashley, like, he is ready enough that he could, like, if he won the Royal Rumble, I wouldn't be surprised, because he's stuck at this level, at the level he's in right now, because he's being held back by that U.S. title.
give me Lashley versus Lesnar that we've been asking for the last couple of years.
And that's
Doesn't
what
have
I'm
to be
not
for a
getting.
title. Doesn't have to be for a title. Just give me Lashley versus Lesnar.
The match that he's been wanting for years.
Hey, that could be what's next. It's
And if you
really not
ask
the most
Lesnar,
outlandish
he'd
thing
prob-
I've ever heard.
And if you asked Lesnar, he'd probably be like, "Yeah, fucking give me Lashley."
Well, before we get to all that, we've got the next speculated match on the card, which is actually the last one I've got. We've got Sasha Banks versus Carmella for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Brian, it's your pick first. Who do you got, Sasha or Carmella?
Sasha Banks, easy, done.
Okay, I guess I will second that. Sasha wins before moving on to something else.
Sasha's the money champion going into
Yeah.
WrestleMania. I like Carmella. But Carmella does nothing for me in a WrestleMania scenario.
Charlie, it's your pick. Who do you got?
Sasha Banks.
And Scholar Tarek, are you going to make it a quadrilogy here?
I'm repeating what Brian says. Carmella is not a WrestleMania worthy champion. Hell, she's not even a C pay-per-view worthy champion in my opinion. But hey, what's his name? Reginald's getting more TV time than she is.
And you know what? Our wrestling world is far more richer for it. Reginald is a good man.
He is.
Carmella's character now is boring to me. When it first came out, I'm like, yeah, this has potential, and now I'm bored. I don't want them to be soon releasing a Carmella version of the Bubbly, and that looks like where they're going with it, since she keeps having Champagne.
Well, she already has Chardonnay and Cabernet, so it wouldn't be that far-fetched, really. Yeah. Anyway, elsewhere on the card, starting with now we're going into the officially announced territory. We've got, for the women's tag championships, Asuka and Charlotte Flair defending their titles against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. First pick is mine. I'm going to go with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler taking their titles back due to shenanigans from all sides from the champions. Either there's going to be some serious stuff happening from Lacey Evans and Ric Flair, or friggin' Alexa Bliss and The Fiend are going to show up and do some crazy crap, or both at the same time, and there's complete pandemonium, and then Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler take advantage and win. So I'm going with Nia and Shayna on this one. Charlie, your next pick. Who do you got? Nia and Shayna or Asuka and Charlotte Flair?
Nia and Shayna. I second you on that. Yeah, I feel like the Charlotte Asuka tag title run hasn't done anything but bad for the two of them. So I'm going to go with Nia and Shayna winning back.
All right. Tarek, who do you got? Nia and Shayna or Charlotte and Asuka?
I'm picking Asuka and Charlotte because they got to give Charlotte a win because she's not winning the Women's Royal Rumble. Plus, they have to keep having they have to have a title on her shoulder, and have it be the Women's Championship. Plus, I don't want to see Nia and Shayna as tag team champions again. I don't want to see Nia rewarded for almost injuring another superstar on Raw. So it's just adding on to my dislike for Nia to even insult people calling her out, saying you got to at least work on this. And it's like, no, you're nothing but a bunch of whiners. Screw her.
Honestly, that's fair enough.
Gone a long time ago. She should have been gone a long time ago. She's not a money draw as much as doesn't matter who the hell her cousin is. Seriously, she's a waste of time. She's a completely unsafe worker, and I've seen. Honestly, it looks like I see a Shayna Nia breakup before anything. And I just like the Asuka 2 belts.
Hey, that's as fair as any other way to predict.
It
Brian,
actually makes the bad booking worth it, knowing that she is a double champion.
Brian, it's your pick now. Who do you got? Are you going to join? Which side are you going to join? Nia and Shayna or Asuka and Charlotte?
This has nothing to do with my pick, but as you all know, it takes a lot to make me have any sympathy at all for Dana Brooke.
Yeah.
But after Monday, I was like, oh shit. Like, and that was.
I'm surprised she didn't get a concussion after that.
So, however, the only reason that Charlotte and Asuka were given the tag team titles to begin with was to get Charlotte back on TV. Okay, she's back on TV now. Okay, she's in a feud. The tag team titles have done nothing for Asuka and Charlotte, and it just seems that it was as a placeholder, and the experiment is done now. So I think we're gonna have some shenanigans. And this actually goes into my Women's Royal Rumble pick later. So, because I think that somehow Charlotte Flair is gonna walk into WrestleMania as the champion. So in order for that to happen, Asuka and Charlotte have to at some point lose the titles down the road, and I think Alexa Bliss gets involved, causes Asuka to take the pin, and Charlotte goes full Charlotte after the match.
So you're saying Nia and Shayna are going to win the Royal Rumble?
Nia and Shayna are your new tag team champions.
I knew I was going to be the only person actually picking against Nia and Shayna. I knew it, and honestly, I just don't care.
Because it's one of those. It's one of those, like, I could see past my hatred of certain people to understand why it would make sense that this would have to happen.
I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised. I thought this was going to be a little bit more of an even split. Truth be told, like,
I knew I was going to be the only one picking Asuka and Charlotte. I knew it. I knew it was going to be clear.
It was always going to be an experiment. It was always going to be a placeholder until it was time for Charlotte to get into the actual women's title hunt. And yeah, who else are they going to drop it to on Raw? They
very
could
good
drop
question.
They should have dropped it to the Riot Squad. When they did.
Lacey Evans and whoever she chooses as a tag partner, just to make Jeff happy.
Hey, I'll take it.
That's bad.
I could see the person. I could see Lacey Evans taking a title off Charlotte, just to continue with their feud. It's like, hell, just make it Peyton Royce, since she kind of is her tag team partner anyway. So it's a fun addition.
It counts.
A fun addition to their story. I just don't see, like, I guess just to continue the Nia Jax, Shayna Brooke versus Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, but that feud sucks. That is
I like that you said Shayna Brooke.
that feud is terrible too. There's oh God.
Oh, brother.
Because you,
Well-
you can tell, it's clear as day that Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke don't work with each other, but they're kind of they have to work with each other because that's how they're being booked. They are such a like people who are working because they have to, not because they want to.
Speaking of people who have to work with each other because they have to or want to, segues: Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship in a last man standing match. I believe, Charlie, it's up at the top of the order. Who do you got? Roman versus Kevin Owens.
Roman Reigns is retained, no doubt. No doubt about it. Next.
All right. Roman Reigns. All right. Tarek, your pick.
I won't go as hard on choosing Roman Reigns as Charlie just did because it's like I've been saying the last couple of weeks, hell, even the last couple of months. Kevin Owens is being booked as such a big baby face. You get so much sympathy for him that you do want him to win, but you know he's not going to. I hate that they're doing all this buildup basically for nothing. But Roman is at a point where he can't lose right now. It's just, like I said, it's just so sad because if this was someone else, if this is someone else's story, they could possibly win, but I just don't see Kevin Owens doing it. And I want to see Kevin Owens do it because he's just making me so sympathetic for him. He's such a great promo. He's such a great babyface. He's such a great character that he's presenting that yeah, you want him to win, but it's just not going to happen.
All right. We've got Brian with your pick. Who do you got? Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens.
I can't really add on much more to what's been being said. Like the Kevin Owens is such, he's that guy that you want to root for. Like, it's been a long time since we've had one of these where it's like, that this person is not going to win. You know for a fact, it's 100% guaranteed, but you still go in with that hope that, hey, it could happen. But always in the back of your mind, Roman Reigns is your big money guy right now. He's the guy who is your only confirmed match at WrestleMania, according to Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer. The only match that is confirmed is Roman Reigns versus the opponent that they chose. They haven't released that name yet, but that's the only match that they know in their head is WrestleMania. Okay, so it's like just first of all, just knowing that they already said that, so it's like the Roman Reigns is gonna win anyway. But it's the whole, he's your money guy right now. Even more than Drew McIntyre, he is your top thing going right now. He is on such a roll, you cannot stop it now.
You just got to keep buttering it.
Yeah, I'm not even certain you stop it at WrestleMania. But you can't stop, but you cannot, absolutely cannot stop it before WrestleMania. That's it.
And I guess now it's my time to make it a quadrilogy. This one, let's be real, this one was fairly cut and dry. As much as I love Kevin Owens and everything he does, it's Roman Reigns' time. I can't believe I said that, but everything we said, it's absolutely true.
It's his actual time, not when WWE says it's his time.
Yes.
It's like this is the character he should have been playing all along. If he was like this the entire time, all of the shit we've been talking since we started talking it would be out the window. If he was playing this character if he was the one to turn on the Shield and he was playing this character the entire time, there would have never been that controversy.
Hey, that's one thing I think we can all agree on. But now it's Tarek's turn, and he's got for the WWE Championship, Drew McIntyre defending his title against Goldberg. Fool, who do you got? Goldberg or Drew McIntyre?
It's really hard to really go against someone who's dedicating the match to COVID-19 survivors. So I'm gonna go with Drew McIntyre because I just can't for the life of me see Vince McMahon give the WWE Championship to a WCW guy.
All right, fair enough.
World Heavyweight Championship, Universal Championship, fine, but not the WWE Championship.
Scholar Brian, do you concur?
Hey, I was worried that Drew McIntyre actually getting COVID was going to be the excuse, because we all said it when we all at least thought it was like, there you go, there it is, Goldberg's champion. Drew McIntyre has COVID. Goldberg's champion. And I was worried up until he said the line in the promo where he was like, I dedicate this to all the people fighting COVID and to all the people who've been lost and all the people who are alive fighting it today. I'm like, WWE is tone deaf at the best of times, but they cannot be that bad. Okay? Where they would actually say that line. And then,
I'm going with Drew McIntyre then.
And then give it up. Like, I was worried up until then, but yeah, it's McIntyre all day.
Also, they point out the fact that when Goldberg comes back and fights for a title, he wins it. I just feel like that's just basically like them saying, "Oh, that's it. He has that, so it's gonna lose now." It's basically saying it's a similarity. Just like, oh, Bayley's had the SmackDown Women's title for over 300 days, or Asuka's had been undefeated for so and so amount of time.
Sasha hasn't beaten Asuka yet. Asuka's undefeated against Sasha. So and then Sasha goes out and beats her. Yeah, now when they bring something up, it's because they're gonna end it. That's it.
All right, yeah, Drew McIntyre. All signs are pointing to Drew McIntyre for me. I'll put him down as my prediction too. Charlie, do we have an accord?
Yeah, Drew McIntyre wins.
All right then. Now that's in the books, now we get to the big one, or the big two, as a matter of fact.
Here's where the crazy comes in.
Oh boy.
Kicking things off with the Women's Royal Rumble match. And Brian, it's your pick first. Women's Royal Rumble match. Who wins it?
Now, my thought going in, not even thinking long term, my thought going into the week was Bianca Belair, so that you can get Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. But I'm like, I think they're setting up for a triple threat for that. So Bianca Belair versus Bayley versus Sasha Banks. You don't need the Royal Rumble for that if you're going to be setting up a triple threat. Okay. Then I thought Alexa Bliss. That's the with the Fiend and all that. But then it's like, no. What happened last year that everyone shit on? And then Charlotte Flair wins the Royal Rumble, goes to NXT, beats Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's title. Turnabout's fair play. Rhea Ripley debuts WWE Royal Rumble, wins it. Charlotte beats Asuka for the women's title. and Rhea Ripley gets we get the rematch on WWE Hallowed Ground. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, WrestleMania 37. Rhea Ripley wins the Women's Royal Rumble.
Damn, Brian. Wow.
All right. Now, part of me wants to wonder why Charlie is saying wow right now.
Mine wasn't as good as that. That's why I'm saying wow right now. But
well, okay.
Good, so it's not going to happen.
Quick question though. Is there an elimination chamber this year, or is it just Fastlane? Because that also has to do with mine.
As far as we know, there is an elimination chamber.
Okay.
I think saying otherwise.
Okay, good.
Well, here's the thing though. Before Brian, before anyone ever even said anything, I was going to go with Rhea Ripley too. I feel like,
oh really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm serious. I went down the short list. I feel like Alexa Bliss, there's a short list of people who could win it. Alexa Bliss is one. What's her name? Bianca Belair is one.
What's her name? Bianca Belair. She's on the hottest streak that she'll ever have in her life, and you're saying, what's her name?
Yeah.
Show some respect.
Put it this way. Have you ever said someone's name for so long it becomes like commonplace, and then when you actually present their name, they're just like, oh, that person I see all the time.
Oh, okay.
It was one of those moments. Believe me, I know Bianca Belair's on a hot streak. That's why I even presented this as an option. So many different options, but because I feel like they're downplaying that element, like you said, that's where I'm leaning. I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley to win this one. Are there other women who could win it? Absolutely. There's so many different options, but I'm still like you, Brian. I've got a little bit of doubt that's leaning me just enough in Rhea Ripley's direction. With that, Charlie, it's your pick. Who do you got?
Okay. So, initially, all signs pointed to Bianca Belair. However, last night I was giving it some thought, and it hit me that there's going to be Elimination Chamber also. And I feel that this year it comes down to two, although you guys have brought in an awesome third. I just feel that it has to be between Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair. Now, I'm going to go with Alexa Bliss because I feel like Bianca Belair is just too spoken of as the one main choice to win this Royal Rumble. And then I gave it thought with Elimination Chamber, and how great would it be to see her come so close at Royal Rumble and then showcase her God-given ability and talent in Elimination Chamber, coming in early and then leaving the winner to go on to Mania that way. The two of them, I feel, are going to be in the two main events regardless for the women's championships at Mania. I just feel Bianca Belair has a better story to tell, coming close, then showcasing her talent, then going to Mania and doing what she has to do.
Another very well-sounded argument. This is what I love about these kinds of matches. But Tarek, we got to hear from you first. Who do you got for the Women's Royal Rumble?
Charlotte Flair wins again because it's Charlotte Flair. No, I'm not really picking Charlotte Flair.
Hey, okay.
I was gonna say my pen is moving too quickly. You need to.
I'm just trolling you guys. I'm
worked, you jerk.
Yeah, you know how heartbroken you guys are about
you
that.
Big meanie poo poo pants.
Yeah. I'm actually just gonna go with Bianca Belair because it's like what you guys said. She actually is on a hot streak, and I just feel like if you're gonna be building new stars, just give it to her. And I actually would want to see Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the women's title at WrestleMania. And for your Rhea Ripley thoughts, we all think that. We all think it would be amazing. But remember, it's not about us. And the question is, does Vince McMahon think high on Rhea Ripley? Apparently not. So I just, as much as we'd love to see that, I want that to happen. I just thinking Vince McMahon logic, and that's so good, it's not going to happen.
I'm fine with this being the hill that I die on.
There you go.
All right. Speaking on dying on hills, now we come to the grand finale of it all.
Oh boy.
The men's Royal Rumble match, and lucky me, it's my pick first.
Golly gee willikers, radioactive man.
I'll tell you what. I know this match no more this match than any other. I've got the feeling of just really getting like they're feeding us a red herring, but
He's got a feeling.
It's going to be a good night for somebody. And in my opinion, I'm going to follow my gut. I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan. I feel
it's
like
good.
It's they're laying it in a little thick. But I've got again, he is a contender among that list, among that group for the men. But you know what? It's one of those things where kind of like the feeling I got about, Zack Ryder is going to win the Intercontinental Championship at the Royal Rumble. There's no. Normally I'm doing it to troll you, fool, but in this case I'm not, and I'll explain why.
Sure you are.
The reason I got that feeling with Zack Ryder was because they sort of were feeding him a little something out of nowhere. They were making him look really strong suddenly, and that's what gave me enough hope to bank on him, and it paid off. This year, I feel like they're doing it with a bunch of different people to throw people off the scent. Daniel Bryan is one with all of his talk about, this is the one thing I never do. I'm towards the end of my career. There's Shinsuke Nakamura supposedly going back face, getting his old music back, doing promos for the Japanese audience. So I think he's got a shot. Braun Strowman just came back, and after the workhorse he was over the past last year, I think he's got a shot as well. We were talking about Bobby Lashley earlier in the show. I think he's got a shot. And Cesaro had 2 Dynamite matches back to back and won them. So there's any number of people
who
can
to
fill
squash
that
him the go home show. Yeah.
On his return match, so that doesn't really hurt him in my mind as it possibly do.
It was just a return.
But all that being said, I'm thinking of this like, okay, WWE has thrown us some curveballs before, and they've also just played it out plain as day. So as much as this is going to be a gamble, I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan, partially head, partially heart. I don't have anything more to add other than that. I'm going with Daniel Bryan to win. Charlie, it's your final pick of the evening. Who do you got for the men's Royal Rumble? Who wins?
I went with my heart on the Rumble game. And then I watched Raw Monday and realized that pick basically shot himself in the foot by announcing this is where he returns. So I'm going to second you with Daniel Bryan on the Royal Rumble match itself as far as official predictions go. Worst case scenario, I have points somewhere.
Okay. Are you saying you picked Edge in the Royal Rumble game? The other prediction?
I picked Edge in the Royal Rumble game.
Hey, honestly, stranger things have happened. He could conceivably win it. So
you know what?
Split your bets. It's not the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
If he wins and this is the hill that I die on, I'm perfectly okay with that. Hand over the championship, be happy that Edge is the number 1 contender. Whatever. Walk out with some sort of win, Rumble. But I'm going with Daniel Bryan. It just has that old school feel of the first guy to announce himself is going to be the guy that wins it. I don't know why. I don't know if I've watched too many Rumbles in the last 72 hours, but I have a good feeling about Daniel Bryan this year.
All right. Tarek, it's your pick. Who do you got for the Men's Royal Rumble? Who wins?
We all say Daniel Bryan, and then Sheamus is gonna just kick him at the end. Like what he did with
It's a
Chris Jericho back in
possibility.
2012.
He looks strong tonight. It's a possibility.
Sheamus is just gonna
And
troll
there's
us
a
all like he
built-in
did in
storyline there.
2012. Yeah.
Indeed, there is.
I'm also gonna go with Daniel Bryan. There's just so much storyline with him in the Royal Rumble, more than anyone else, really. And sorry, Charlie, I don't want Edge to win the Rumble.
I don't care if anyone does. He's Edge. I love him.
So yeah, I'm just gonna pick Daniel Bryan.
And Bryan.
I'm confident he's been my choice ever since he first announced it.
Bryan, take us home. Who's your pick?
It pretty much came down between the two. It was between Daniel Bryan and Edge for me, and the only reason I'm going the way I'm going is because I had who I think is going to be a Raw superstar win the women's Royal Rumble. So it's one of those. You have the big money heel in the main event of WrestleMania. I want to take it back to the old school where you had the scrappy underdog babyface winning the Rumble, going into WrestleMania against the big money heel. Okay, then you add in the story of how he's been in the business, 20, 25 years, and has never won a Battle Royal Rumble, any type of that match. Okay, and you have all the shit that happened in 2000. When was it that they had the Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan #1 contender match and all that stuff after the Royal Rumble? That you have all that backstory built in. It's like that is a overarching storyline that you can get so much out of. So I'm also gonna go Daniel Bryan, but this is also WWE we're talking about, so you're gonna hate me when I'm throwing it out there. Daniel Bryan's my prediction, but don't be surprised if Goldberg gets that number 30 spot and throws out everybody, and you get Goldberg versus Roman Reigns.
Oh, stranger things have happened. As long as our predictions are set in stone, as long as now we've got our predictions set in stone, I just had a thought. What if Kofi's healed up from injury and he wins?
He's not going to.
He's not going to be healed up, and even if he is, he's not going to win.
He's going to take up a spot. He's going to throw. He's going to do the double clothesline routine with Mustafa and take both of them out.
Yeah.
All right, I guess that wasn't as much as a fire question as I thought it was.
And then you do the New Day versus Retribution as it was meant to happen, and you move on from there. I don't think Kofi's sniffing a world title anytime soon. I think he got his one. He had a good run with it.
And the cocaine. What?
And we're going
What?
and
What?
I'm sorry.
Nothing.
I'm sorry. It's the first thing that popped in my head. Was just
Don't flag us,
saying
YouTube
something.
censorship algorithm, whatever.
Or sniffing glue.
with the amount of times I've said fuck in this broadcast, I don't think one cocaine is going to.
Well, either snorting cocaine or sniffing glue.
Yeah. I don't think Kofi comes any. I think Kofi's done with world titles.
All right, then. Well, now is the time of our show where we turn it over to The rest of you are wrestling listening, viewing, and consuming audience. You've already heard what we think. Now is where we want to hear from you. And drop us a line all across the internet, wherever we can be found. YouTube comments, Facebook posts, our personal favorite, Twitter, wherever we're at. We want you to be there, right there with us. And speaking of Twitter, you can follow us at ScholarsOW, our main account, for all the latest episode uploads every single week. And you can also join in the conversation with our personal Twitter accounts. Charlie Champ.
Charlie Champ.
Where can they reach you, Smiley?
Charlene on Twitter.
Party Champ, Fool, where can they reach you?
You can reach me enjoying this Charles over here for potentially the last time at the Avataric.
Scholar Brian, where can they reach you?
And you can reach me at Atomic Beanpole. Cuddle that thing, Charlie. It's coming home soon.
Oh, I fucking will, sir. Oh, I fucking will.
And
Just
you
watch,
can-
Jeff. It's going to be either you or me winning the belts, and it's been them this entire time.
It's got to be
I'm
Jeff.
sorry.
It's the Royal Rumble game. It's got to be Jeff.
And you can follow me, the future champ, at I'm Robbie Rage.
It's
Hey.
Royal Rumble time. It's Jeff's time.
It's Royal, damn right it is. It's Royal Rumble time. We're hyped. There's going to be belts everywhere. There's going to be points to be shared, prizes. It's going to be absolute pandemonium. But you already knew that because you know who we are.
Don't quote him. Don't quote that trash Al Del Rio, whatever. You already knew that. Don't do that. He's now.
He doesn't hold a trademark on that phrase because they know who we are. They all know about what we're about because we are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
welcome.
See you all at the Rumble.